Hello fellow Asylum enjoyers. Recently I came across a video by Grandmagamer 1927 which went into detail about what the worst possible loadout in Asylum is. What bothered me was the inclusion of unobtainable items, which made the loadout theoretically impossible to obtain. So in this video I want to share my thoughts on some of the worst weapons in the game, as well as the, in my opinion, theoretically worst possible loadout. Starting off with underwhelming melee weapons, we begin with Go Mining. It swings decently fast and does 15 damage. The problem is that there's nothing more to do with this weapon. It has no hidden attributes, boosts or anything. Coming up next we have Uncle Dane. It swings faster than Pickaxe but also does less damage. It does come with a banger soundtrack though, that gets even better if you pair it up with Ultra Instinct. The Stun on a Stick. Just like the weapon it references, it is extremely situational, requiring enemies to be on fire to do good damage. However, fire sources aren't that easy to come by, so this weapon only really works as a fire force shutdown tool. I quickly want to take some time to defend Lamp. Don't get me wrong, Lamp itself is absolutely terrible. However, due to its upgraded version so far being very good and obtainable after just 3 kills, it saves Lamp from being bad. Up last we have Protest with its mediocre damage and slow swinging speed. However, it does come with a hit stun. The many different quotes this item can feature is a nifty detail that would be really cool if the quotes would give certain special effects. So, keeping all these bad weapons in mind, for my personal worst melee weapon pick I have Go Mining. It gets outperformed by so many other fast speed low damage weapons and doesn't really bring anything cool to the table, unless you want to count visual clutter. Moving on to the ranged category, we start off with Bottle. Incredibly low damage packaged with a ragdoll. Would be okay if so many of the other ranged weapons didn't have a ragdoll effect, but dealt higher damage. Next up we have Brimstone. A ranged weapon that is so bad in terms of range that even the tooltip questions it being a ranged weapon. The damage itself is mediocre, but the ragdoll effect being an AoE, aka you can hit multiple people with it, can really be good sometimes. Following up we have Cinderblock. Good damage, but the whole arch throwing is really awkward and the cooldown is fairly long. Right after Cinderblock we have its smaller brother, Small Pebble. Works the same way, but with a faster cooldown and lower damage. However, it also comes with 2 special interactions. One where if you throw it at someone who has Strip, you perish. And the second one is that you can apparently one-shot someone with Twilight, though I haven't gotten that to work out really. Coming in next we have Lovestruck. Unique in the sense that it can overheat. Even though its regular projectiles aren't that strong, its damage overall is mediocre and its secondary fire, while being good as a ragdoller, has a very long cooldown. And for our last ranged weapon we have Stomp. Funnily enough, the Juggernaut version is really good, but the one we get in FFA/Kit is really bad. It's slow, predictable, only does 30 damage and makes you a massive target. It doesn't come with any buffs or like boosts to make up for the fact that you're essentially just standing still for a couple of seconds. Taking the spot for the worst ranged weapon was originally supposed to be Lovestruck. However, after playing around with both Stomp and Lovestruck, I have found Stomp to be actually slightly worse. Up last we have the Miscellaneous category, which by far features the most amount of arguably bad items. Starting off with Abysmal Scream. In boss fights or Juggernaut this item can be quite powerful, but in FFA all this item really does is slow you down and make you easier to kill. Up next we have Brass Monkey and Cardboard Cutout Flopper, both acting as deployable cover. However, both of which being outclassed by Carded doesn't work. Dropping in next we have Ladder and Parasol, both of them offering verticality. And while Ladder isn't really all that useful, Parasol can be super clutch in a few scenarios, but outside of those, it's a glorified cosmetic. Dropping in next we have Doorbell and Infinite Welfare, both of them acting as timed explosives, with Doorbell dealing a lot more damage and knockback, but being one-time use only, and coming with a random timer, which does hurt its usefulness a lot. Coming in next we have Radio and Silly Guitar, both acting as sources for music, with one of them being arguably a lot better at it. Next up we have Frog on a Leash and Turtle. While they are both cute, they don't really do anything, other than some very niche usage, like using Frog on a Leash as a tether. The Grumman F-14 Tomcat Fighter Jet, I will never say that again. I've seen a lot of people call this item bad. While it isn't that great, it does act as effective cover and can be used to traverse the map very quickly. Obviously only once because it flies off the map most of the time, or gets stuck. Last but definitely not least, we have the untextured Shitbrick. And if my tone didn't make it obvious, I hate this item. You can apparently use it to double jump once, but that's it. And unlike many of the other meme items, it doesn't really provide any meme potential either, it's just a brick. So, combining all of our previous findings, the worst theoretical possible loadout in Asylum, in my opinion, is Go Mining, Stomp and untextured Shitbrick. That about does it for this video. Hope you found it informative, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day.